Okay, today's video, we are going to talk about the new Simulate Campaign Changes feature that you will see in the upper right-hand corner of your campaign management screen that tells you whether upping your bids or lowering your bids will result in more or less sales. Obviously, it normally will. The question is, how much will it actually affect your sales? But what I'm telling you on this particular video here today is whether you can trust it or not. And the answer to that is no, you cannot. What it says that you will get is not what you're going to get in actuality. So don't take it like gospel. However, there is some truth to this new tool that Google has given us. I'm going to go through what the details of those are, given I have an actual case study here that I'm going to cover in today's video so you understand what this will actually do for you and how close does the numbers actually get. So with that said, the Simulate Campaign Changes feature on Google Ads is a simulator that Google shows at the top of the campaign screen. It's there to show you how adjusting your bids, whether you're talking about and you use manual bidding or smart bidding, how much more sales you can get by raising your bids or lowering it if you were considering doing that, or more conversions itself, or more clicks. If you're using manual bids, it'll tell you how many more clicks you can get, and then you can obviously do the math on your conversion rates. If they stay the same, more clicks, how much more sales they can get you. This does work for both manual or smart bidding. For some reason, Google only allows this for some campaigns and not others. I'm not quite entirely sure why they are doing that at this particular stage, other than the obvious. They're doing it because they don't think they have a good read on a bid adjustment, what it'll actually do for your campaign, and that would make sense. If they're doing it for another reason, I don't know. Maybe by the time you see this video, it's available for every campaign all the time. Well, it's not always available. The accuracy itself, I'm going to go into next. And what we did was do this on a client's campaign. If you manage campaigns for clients, you'll realize there's times where they have so much fixed overhead in their business. They need to be able to keep their guys or gals busy, even if you're doing e-commerce, your shipping staff, whatever. And even though the campaigns may not be obscenely profitable, they need to keep so much volume in play, even if they were to run a slight loss on the front end in terms of ROI, ROAS on their campaign, because they'll lose even more. They are profitable on paper, but only a small trickle of business coming in, given a lot of businesses really rely on their Google ads in order to power the sales that they have coming into their business, which, by the way, is the reason why you don't want to just rely on Google Ads. It's a great tool, but if you're making money on Google Ads, you should immediately try to figure out other channels that work so you don't run into, the number one way that kills businesses is businesses that rely too much on one channel, and then that channel will inevitably fuck up at some point. At that point in time, just know it will happen. People get fat and happy once they are profitable, and then they say, oh, I don't need to reinvest anymore. Inevitably, this happens, and then the time it takes to get another channel going is too long, and they run out of money before that other thing is going again, or going at all and is profitable. You forget how long it took you to get Google's ads profitable for you in the first place. Well, that's how long it's going to take to get any other channel profitable. Anyway, with that said, we had a search campaign here that had smart bidding on it, specifically maximize conversion value smart bidding. The starting ROAS that this particular campaign had, it was starting out with a 442 ROAS on this particular search campaign that had a long history. Been running it for about 7 years already. With that said, had the scenario, like I mentioned a second ago, client needed to get some more volume, even if it means running the campaigns at a loss, get more volume to keep the guys busy. With that, we went into the campaign simulator, wanted some data. I know better to rely on Google's data, like having to do with any other bid simulators, to give them some sort of idea, like what's the bleeding going to be like if we go ahead and juice the numbers given. Normally, like you should have, all your campaigns are going to be running at the target ROAS that you need to be profitable at, but not more, because if you were to get more, then you're basically going to raise the ad spend so you can get more volume. You're going to make more money getting a reasonable ROAS so you can scale more than getting a super high ROAS, but you can't scale very much. Anyway, at 442, they were profitable already. It could be higher, but the volume we were getting is good. That's what they wanted. So With that said, the estimator was saying over the next 7 days, if we dropped our target ROAS by 50%, we would get an 85% increase in our spend and a 25% increase in our revenue. If that happened, the math works out to where we would have had a 297% ROAS. So we're not getting that much more revenue at the end of the day. With a considerable drop in our target ROAS, or actual ROAS on the campaign that its campaign's delivering. The result of doing this over the next 7 days, instead of the spend going up 85%, the spend went up 176% in those next 7 days with this drop in the ROAS 50%. And the interesting thing along with that as well is the revenue attributed to that campaign had went up 44% week over week. Whereas the estimator campaign simulator was saying that we would go up 25%, we went up 44. So moral of the story is here, it spent a lot more than it said it would spend. It got more sales than it said it would get. The ROI/ROAS was not what it said it would be. It was 229% ROAS instead of the 297 it said it would deliver if we cut our ROAS target in half. That right there should tell you if you go ahead and you try to go for more sales in a short-term time span like this and you're running into a crisis like this particular client was, more than likely are going to get really juiced in terms of your Google sucking money out of your bank account. Your ROI is going to go down probably more than what it says it's going to go down in the process. For me, I understand why it is that, Google screws up on this. Anytime, I've harped on this over and over and over again on this channel. Anytime you make a change on Google Ads, it's going to cause you negative volatility in your account, because all the ads are run off an algorithm now that decides whether your ad should show for this person or that person. And even though you're targeting the keyword red shoes, Google decides when it should show up for that people who search that search based upon all the customers you've got in the past and all the machine learning that they've done on using their system and with their system since you've started up your account and that campaign, and all the other competitors that have also ran traffic on that keyword. And so what happens is where you really get screwed on Google Ads is when you make a significant change and the campaign basically goes back into learning mode. Even though it doesn't say learning mode, if you suddenly, your traffic doesn't convert the same way, it went back into learning mode. And what happens ultimately in this situation is your ads were showing up for the right portion of the traffic on the keywords that you're betting on that was contributing to the ROI/ROAS you were getting. You make a significant change, instead of showing up for those people, now you're getting shown to the leftovers, if you will. And that leftover traffic doesn't convert. And to get back in the placements you were getting, you have to show the algorithm all over again, essentially, short term, that your ads perform just as well as the leading people in terms of the click-through rate and the conversion rate that they're getting to warrant being in those spots. Because you got to think about it like this. If 5 people in your niche market that are all betting on the same terms, all have smart betting, and they all say they want a 400% ROAS, who is Google going to send the person that they know has 72% confidence level of being a customer, which, by the way, they can tell because they look at every single customer that's came through in the last 20 years, what traits they had versus what traits they didn't have. And same thing with non-customers that came through that same keyword. They can statistically, they understand the probability of that person becoming a customer. If they're likely to become a customer, they got to send it to somebody. Given those 4 ad spots on Google, they can cycle people in and out as they choose. And so ultimately, they're going to send it to the person who they want to encourage to stick around. And the person they want to encourage to stick around has the highest click-through rate and the conversion rate on the clicks they're giving them, because that indicates that users as a whole saw your ad and website, liked it, and then therefore are most likely to click on an ad in the future. They want to encourage the people who help their users the most to stick around, and they want to encourage the people that do the worst for their users to get priced out of the system. So they'll give them the worst, least likely people to convert to the guy who's not helping their users. So your campaign goes back into learning mode, just like when you started up that campaign almost. It's going to go back and have to relearn the customers that it should be shown to, more likely, or should I say, or in addition to that, or more important, that it deserves the good customers, okay? And that learning can take a week. Sometimes it takes a month to get back to where it was. These targets don't take into consideration your campaign going back into learning mode. If you just change the target ROAS by 7%, most of the time avoid the campaign going back into learning mode, and then these estimates will be a little bit more accurate. But if you make it, the bigger the change, the more likely it is going to go take your campaign back into learning mode, and none of what you have seen applies anymore. Or I shouldn't say none, but it applies a lot less. Okay? So, but then if you're making a small adjustment, you don't need the simulator to begin with because it's only going to affect your sales a teeny bit. Who cares? So that's why the simulate campaign changes function on the account isn't going to help you that much at the end of the day. For everything I just covered here. It can give you a little bit of an indication as to what direction things will go if you adjust your targets or adjust your CPC bids, but it's not going to be an ironclad thing. I can accept and afford to lose 25% ROI or ROAS, so therefore I should, set the bid to exactly this. No, it's going to give you a ballpark. If you can't have and you can't tolerate your ROI going under a certain level, otherwise you've got a business or whatever, for whatever reason, then you shouldn't rely on this data like it's gospel, okay? It's better than no data at all, but it's just a general feel of what could and should happen. For the most part, you shouldn't be making big changes in your account. You should always be seeking to grow your account, and you're going to adjust your bids or your ROAS and not so much your bids, but because once you get 30 conversions, you should all be using smart bidding because it's going to get you the most results out of your account over time. With the smart bidding, you should be adjusting that target ROAS or target CPA no more than 15% at a time so you don't go back into learning mode. I do 30% adjustments when the campaign's newer. Otherwise, it's going to take too long to get it where I want it to be short term. But long term, you're trying to grow the profitability of your account 10, 20% a month. That's our typical average. And with that, you're going in once a month, literally once a month, to adjust that target ROAS a little bit, 10%, 15%, and that'll walk up the profitability of the account or open it up. So a lot of people just set the target ROAS like, well, I need 1,000% ROI, so I'll set it to that. That's not the best way to use that tool or that target ROAS function. You use the target ROAS function, you look at total sales in your company divided by total ad spend, see if you're profitable or where you have that ratio where you want it to be, and then you raise the ad spend 10, 20% and make sure that you wait for the sales to go up 10, 20% in addition, and then you raise the spend on the ad spend you have 10, 20% again, and you do the same thing again and again and again. And each time, to get the campaign to go run a little bit more aggressively, you use the target ROAS function as like a lever or a knob, if you will. But if you set the target ROAS, it's going to get the campaign to run a little bit more aggressively. If you're much over that ratio, if you need a 5-to-1 ratio of total sales to ad spend and you're at a 5.5, you can easily go in your campaigns, lower the target ROAS by 10%, get a bunch more sales, and still be at the target, what they call marketing efficiency ratio, total sales divided by ad spend of that 5-to-1 ratio still. The real people in the know that run ads are working off a marketing efficiency ratio more so than what the ROI of the account says. Because the ROI, what the account says directly in the tracking of your account, it undercounts the actual conversions and it doesn't count into all the other things that the ad spend does for you, like referrals, juicing and improving your organic traffic. Yes, it does do that. Repeat business that you get as a result of getting a customer through Google Ads, people that buy again. As a result of that, if you're just expecting that number in your account to say the ROI that you're looking for, you're barely going to be able to raise the ad spend in your account as a result of that. Yes, it'll say 1,000% ROI, but you're making $1,000 a month. Whereas I'm going to not care if it says 1,000. I'm going to care if it says 300, and I'm going to be making $1 million a year because I'm looking at my overall sales revenue and how that's trending. The reason why, and people ultimately, they say, well, how can I judge my Google ads based upon the sales, total sales? Because the total sales could be going up for any reason. Well, I can understand what you're saying if only 10% of your advertising budget is spent on Google Ads. But if it's 30, 40, 50%, it should already be high enough that if the only thing you do in terms of your marketing is increase your marketing budget through your Google Ads and then your sales go up directly after that the Google Ads increase in budget that you did cause the increase in sales over the next 30, 60, 90 days. You've got to be able to make that conclusion. Otherwise, you're just not going to have any way to scale an ad account to millions of dollars a year in revenue and profits for yourself because the tracking is inherently flawed. The tracking in your account's great for telling if one ad works over another because the undercounting will be done similarly between each ad, but it won't tell you what the profitability of your investment is as a whole. If you have any questions about anything I cover here, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. If you want and are serious about making millions of dollars a year running ads for your business, this is the channel you want to subscribe to if you haven't already. The information I'm giving you on this channel is coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week doing ad testing and strategy to actually know what works and what doesn't work on a wide variety of different niches and markets. The information you're going to find on other YouTube channels are from people who don't spend their time running ads and they're just regurgitating information from Google and Facebook and so forth. They pretend like they don't, but I promise you that's 99% of the information you're going to find from other YouTubers on and from YouTube. So you should subscribe already. Furthermore, you can also find my blog, the blog itself, on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. Has step-by-step advice on how to use the strategies we use to guarantee results for our clients at our firm. Yes, guaranteed. It has the step-by-step instructions to apply these go-to strategies that we use for clients in your account and get the same results we're getting. If you want to see how we're doing it, all the strategies are basically just discussed there. If you like the channel, you're going to like the blog even more. As a side, if you're looking for somebody to do all this heavy lifting and all this work of getting these strategies in place for you, for your business, this is what we do for clients at our firm. And with that, we do not charge clients any fees until we can get you more profits from your ads than you had before, or to a certain level of profitability with it. We're going to bring you more profits on your ads before we charge a fee. So by the time you pay us, we're paying ourselves out of the increase in profitability we brought your company already. There's no catch other than we got to know we're working with something we know we can get results with up front. And so therefore, we don't work with just any client. But if you want to see if we can work together, I offer a free consultation. You simply just got to reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. And I'd be more than happy to look over what you have and see what the possibilities may be there. And give you some estimates if it looks like there's some meat on the bone there for us to both eat off of. We also have ad templates available. If we worked in your niche market before, you would do yourself a huge favor purchasing the winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates that work in your niche market already. We've already done all the hard work for you, and you can just use the winning version of all of it. We've worked in over 100 niche markets in the last 10 years of running Guaranteed PPC agency. And if we've done it all, you can get all the same results that it took us years to figure out how to get for your market. We sell those for a one-time fee, and we can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front before you ever purchase the template and show you that. If you're interested in that opportunity, you can also reach out to me at my firm as well at Guaranteed PPC. We got people using these templates, by the way, to start whole other businesses. Lead generation businesses where they're selling leads. Got many people doing that already now. Starting e-commerce businesses when they didn't know anything about e-commerce to begin with, and they wanted as sure a bet as they could start out with where they didn't have to know much. Selling a product that our client sells, but selling it in a country they're not in, using the ads that they're using it to sell in one country and another. It's the easiest way to get into the e-commerce. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at Guaranteed PPC. With that said, I'll wrap everything up with that. I'll see you on the next one.